my beautiful people. It is Katie. How are we all doing today? Today is Friday, which means you get a normal video instead of a vlog today. Well, you get a vlog too, but you get a normal video. So today I've decided to do 5 of my favorite books that I've ever read and share them with you and tell you a tiny little bit about them. They are in no particular order. I just thought I would do 5 of ones that I've really enjoyed and they're my favourites. So, biscuit tea on brand, obviously. And we're just going to get started. Don't put that in front of the camera, that would be silly. But yes, my first one I'm going to start with is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This one says, like Donna Tartt's A Secret History, M.L. Rio's sparkling debut is a richly layered story of love, friendship, and obsession. This firstly is a nice, beautiful signed edition. And hold on, I've still got my Gary hand. Here we go, beautiful signed edition. Nice black edges, just very nice special edition. So this one is basically, if you like Shakespeare, it has a lot of Shakespearean kind of settings in it. It's not written in Shakespearean language, but it's basically about a group of friends, and one of the main characters is basically framed for something that they didn't do. I'm pretty sure that's not spoiling it. No, so the main character, Oliver, served 10 years for the murder of one of his closest friends, a murder he may or may not have committed. On the day he's released, he's greeted by the detective who put him in prison. Detective Coburn is retiring, but before he does, he wants to know what really happened 10 years ago. So basically, this detective sits down with Oliver and basically just wants to know exactly what happened that day 10 years ago and find out if it actually was him, because Oliver the whole time has either taken the blame or has basically just went along with it. I can't remember which way it was because it's been a while since I've read it. I need to actually reread this, but it was a 5 out of 5 star and it was really good. So if you like Donna Tartt, or if you like sort of like dark academia, I would highly recommend If We Were Villains, and also this edition if you can still get it because it's beautiful. My next one is The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. Now there's 4 in this series, so this is the same series as Practical Magic. And basically this is set on the ants from Practical Magic. So if you've seen the movie The Two Ants, this is kind of them growing up as witches. It's witchy, there's lots of magic, it's them kind of like discovering themselves. It's how the curse comes about in Practical Magic as well. So this is the first, well, originally it was the first in the series to read first, but now I believe you read, what's the other one called? You read the other one first. I cannot for the life of me remember. What a great start to this video. But yes, The Rules of Magic, I highly recommend this one. I've read this one and Practical Magic in the series, and I've not read the other 2 because she just released a new one, The Book of Magic. The Book of Magic is the last one, I believe, but I honestly have the worst brain fog in the world, so I apologise for just rambling nonsense. But yes, if you're going to read any of them out of the series, read this one. I love the 2 ants. I love them discovering things about the curse. I love them falling in love. I felt their heartbreak when they had heartbreak. I felt their sadness. I just had all the emotions and all the feels. And as you can see, I tabbed the hell out of this one. I really, really loved it. So if you're going to read any, read this one. If you're going to read Practical Magic, don't bother, watch the movie because the movie's a lot better. Sorry, Alice Hoffman, I know you're not watching this, but Practical Magic just lacked a lot of magic for me, but this one, full of whimsy and magic, and I loved it. The next one is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. Now this one became a Netflix movie a couple of years ago. Was it during lockdown that they did it? And I have never read a book and been so terrified of the dark forever. So this has all the feels of a very spooky eerie, dark, twisted. You don't know what's kind of coming round the corner. It's very terrifying. I was actually scared to go out and empty my bins when I was reading this. The darkness just freaked me out. It has such an atmosphere, and it really gave me the creeps. And for it to give me the creeps, I've never really felt that way with a book before. So that in itself kind of was why I gave it a 5 star. But the writing's really good, the story's really good. Mallory, the second one, was really good as well, but it just didn't have that same eeriness to it that Bird Box did. Bird Box just scared the crap out of me, basically. So it's, if you don't know about it, it's about a woman called Mallory who is living her normal life, and then one day this outbreak kind of happens. Nobody really knows what's going on, but if you see something outside, it turns you into basically something horrific. So everybody has to go about wear blindfolds. Now Mallory's pregnant when all this sort of stuff goes down. So this is based on Mallory and her 2 kids kind of living through this post-apocalyptic world after all these creatures and stuff are kind of taking over, and they have to basically walk around with blindfolds on. So they have to heighten their senses, so like their hearing and things, because obviously they can't use their eyes anymore. It's also kind of really delves into the fact that when you meet new people, you obviously can't look at them. So you've kind of got to gain people's trust by just listening to them and kind of understanding their whereabouts and trying to figure out kind of if they've got weapons or anything on them. So that in itself, you actually feel like you're blind when you're walking through it. And it's just so atmospheric, and I highly recommend it. This is actually in like my top 5 favorite books ever, which I will do a video on that at some point. But yes, if you have not read this before and you feel like getting the creeps, read this. My next one is, might not have heard of this one before. It's called Heroin by Mindy McGinnis. I tapped it a couple of times. I read this maybe 4 years ago when it came out. It's basically about a girl that, well, she's in school if I remember correctly. So I go to school on Monday, no one knows that I've crossed the line. I have not become someone else. There is no sign on my chest. I am not accused of anything. I admit to myself that I am a heroin user, while also updating in my mind what that actually means. I am not a wasted person. I am not prowling the streets. I am not an addict. I am a girl spinning her locker combination. I am a girl who got a B on her math test. I am a girl who has 2 holes on the inside of her arm, but they do not tell the story of me. As far as I remember, the main character in this book is in some form of accident, and she is prescribed opiates because I'm pretty sure she hurts her leg. And Mickey Catlin's life has been littered with struggles, from the scars that tell of past injuries to her parents' divorce to the daily complexity of finding the right words to fit in socially. Yes, so she was in a car crash and it sidelines her for months before softball season. So she's a softball player in school and she's in a car crash and something happens to her leg. The doctor prescribes her medication. When the medication runs out, she basically discovers that she's in a lot of pain and needs something to kind of keep her going, and she needs that kind of high. But she's not using it in sort of a recreational way. She's using it to just kind of get on with her life. This was a really hard-hitting book for me. It kind of really delves into addiction and things. So if it's something that is a trigger for you, then this book will definitely not be for you. But it kind of shows you through the main character's eyes of dealing with being in agony all the time, and how you will literally go to any lengths to get rid of that pain, and how she's just living her life normally, but she's taking drugs to kind of mute out the horrible parts of it, which is her pain and struggling, while she just wants to basically play softball again. So this is really good, but like I said, if you do have triggers regarding like drugs and things, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But if you're okay with that, then strongly recommend it. I haven't read anything else by Mindy McGinnis. Has anybody else read anything by Mindy McGinnis? I would kind of like to delve into some more of her books, but I don't think she writes ones like that. I think that's kind of the only one that she's written that was like that. And my last one for today's video is My Year of Rest My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Mosfeg. Otessa Mosfeg. I was saying it in my head repeatedly so that I didn't say it wrong, and then I said it wrong. But if you've been here for a while, you'll know that I butcher names, not on purpose, but it just happens. But I had basically heard this on Ariel's channel, and she was ranting and raving about it. She was talking about her podcast and things. So I bought it a couple of years ago thinking, I'm going to get round to this. I'm going to read it eventually. It sat on my shelf and it sat on my shelf. And then lockdown happened in the UK. You weren't allowed to leave your house. You weren't allowed to do anything. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to pick up this book because this book is about the main character who basically just wants a year off. She wants to medicate herself in a way that she can just sleep for a year because she feels like she needs that much rest. She's fed up of her day-to-day kind of life and just wants a break. And she feels that a year off would do her the world of good. But with that comes a lot of problems. And it's very, very, very good. I tabbed it quite a few times. Can't remember if I said that or not. But yes, it was a really good book. I mean, not a lot happens in it. You are literally following a woman that wants a year of rest. So she doesn't go out and do like a huge amount of things. But the way it's cleverly done is so good. And it makes you tired reading it, but not as in like you're bored, just as in I feel really tired. I could do with a year of rest and relaxation. But by the end, you don't really feel that way because you think, this might not be the life for me. But yeah, it's kind of good in a way as well that it makes you kind of look at your life and think, am I wasting my life doing what I'm doing? And it makes you kind of question things because at the time the job I was in, I kind of discovered that maybe that job wasn't for me and a year of rest wouldn't be enough from it. It would probably be better to just part from it, which I did. Not in like a negative way, it just wasn't for me. But yes, so if you want a really quick read, now I'm a really slow reader and this was a quick read, and it does sound like it's a bit boring and a bit slow, but I promise you it's really not. I would highly recommend picking that up too. So that has been 5 of my top books that I've ever read. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please hit that thumbs up button. And I will be here for daily vlogs and other videos, and I hope you have a lovely day.